Hello everyone, I thought I'd introduce myself here. I'm Nigel. You may have seen me on the forums and all that type of thing. I just thought I'd show a little video here of the the track that I made, uh, painted. The files are on the Facebook Play Games sort of file section. And you basically print out the 6 sections. They're done in a kind of a retro 1970s style. And underneath there's masking tape. I laminated each of the sheets as well to protect them, and so the cards can slide around on the board, so to speak. I mean, way back in 2009, I had the original, well, one of the early versions of Roller Rumble, which is, of course, that was black and white, right? So after 10 or so years of playing the game in black and white, I decided to liven it up a bit. And so here we are. This is my game board, and I have the two halves of the facts. So these are the girls' side and the guys' side here. And then at the end of the period, I swap them over, shuffle them, do whatever. Over here, I've got my scoreboard, my two teams. I'm currently playing the Philadelphia Pinks against the Boston Flames in my league. And yeah, the way I have sort of on the fly scoring, let's get my hand out of the way. The yellow represents the Flames, and I don't have pink counters. These are from an old Colditz game. This is red for the Philadelphia Pinks. So obviously the score is sort of done with the tens here and the singles here. So at the moment we've got the Flames are leading by, no, sorry, the Pinks are leading by 9-6. And then here, this just shows you what period we're in. So pink for girls, blue for boys. So we're about to start the 4th period here. So a little visual representation of the score. Obviously I have the score on my sheet and all the stuff that happens with the players. I've got my dice for the highlight book, which is here. I'm not showing any charts of the game or anything like that. All this board, if you like, is all my own work. And if you know the game, as the players, for instance, on the FAQ here, can't read it. Powerful skater sends two opponents flying into the over the rail, right? And he's got the movement symbol. And you all know those. So obviously from the start space, you just move their their marker down towards the jam and the power jam. So this is the visiting team here. So this is the Pinks. And you might recognize some of the characters. So I've got Shea Brown, Pons, Becca, the other Brown sister, and Magnuson, the big Norwegian, is heading the blockers here. So it's like player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down here on the Flames, it's similar. We've got Blitch is 1, Blevins is 2, Zimmerman is 3, the ever impressive Gina Lombardo is 4, and Hart is 5. I think Kim Hart's normally the number 4, the lead jammer, but they've been swapped in the game. So this is the Flames, and they're going this way around the track. So this is their marker that goes around and says when their jams are happening. So how I usually play the game is, this is my FAQ. So I just pull the FAQ, flip it. As you see, I've got them all in. I have played this game for 15 years, so having them in the plastic protectors has been great for me, really. You'll see some of them have got coffee stains on, but there you go. So I just play it here. I read the fact, goes to the next one, dooby-doo, until that's exhausted. The players themselves don't go around, well, they are going around the track in your mind's eye, but their positions are as they would be on the old scoreboard. The only thing is that this number 1, when it talks about the opponent, matches up with the number 1 over there. The number 2 matches up with this one, the 3 with the 3, the 4 with the 4, and the 5 with the 5. So, but this is how the roller derby would go. They would all circle each other around the ball, around the track. This is banked, and the home team is jamming this way. Home start. I chose red and blue because they're kind of standard colors for all these things. And the red is away. And if we had pink markers, you know, you could use them to signify the teams a bit, you know, differently than just red. So I've gone for red, and these are yellow. But you get the idea. So as you play the game, you've got more of a visual situation going on. Here are the guys. So these are the guys for the Flames. They're going to come on, and these are the ladies, obviously, and this is their bench. So as they substitute, you just swap them around. And what I do is, if they've been used in a period and they substitute, I just blank them like that. So now there's only a choice of 2, and you know, and then they go back to the bench. So you know exactly which characters you can use in a period. The other thing is, when it comes to penalties, say, this is quite good really. I mean, say Blevins here is penalised. She's the number 2 character. All I do is I flip it to that side. I get a black pawn. I put it on there just as a visual that space, if you like, is missing from the team. And then I've got a card protector from an old game. It's just a white plain one, and I'll just insert that 6 cards into the deck. When I come to the card, obviously, then this player returns from play, returns back to the track, and then the game continues. So that's how I deal with penalties, and it's really so quick. It takes no time whatsoever. And that's basically it. And here on my score sheet, I've got the periods laid out. I do the individual scores, the power jams for each side, and in the middle here I've got the running score of the game. The women, their jam scores, any notes that happen to them, penalties. I also note down when the action deck sort of magnifies their play. So if they move the space on the board, I'll give them a tick in big play or big hit if they've taken somebody out, injury caused, injury suffered. If their play by hitting or by maneuvering allows a jam to score, not just a jam to occur, then I'll give them an assist. So in other words, they're the last player to act before the jam scores. The jams are recorded here, the starts. So this team, the Pinks, so far in this game, have not scored on their own jam, but they've initiated it twice. Whereas the Boston Flames have initiated 6 jams and have only scored twice on their own. Of course, in this game, as you know, you can score on the opponent's jam, and that's been happening a little bit here. Other thing to note, before the game, when I write out the lineups, who I want in the game, so obviously the first 5 main positions, blocker 1, 2, the pivot, jam. This is obviously the main jammer, the secondary jammer. I roll 2d6, the 2d6 that you get with the game, for each character, each player. And if it comes up with a double, they're not selected for whatever reason in the match. So Blitz I rolled for Blitz and she didn't get a double, but Cooper here had a double, so she doesn't start and she's benched. So for number 2, I brought in Blevins, who was going to be a bench player. Also, Zimmerman wasn't picked for the game, so I had to find another one. So Franklin here came in as the number 3. As it happened, Zimmerman was able to come onto the game due to the facts and the game itself in period 1. So she is now eligible to stay on the track. So even though she didn't start, she's actually taken part in the game. And you can see her here scoring 2 points in the 3rd period. So all of the players are checked to see whether they're eligible to start. This allows you to have a bench player basically play for the whole game. And so Blevins here, she's done really well. And yeah, she's had 4 big plays and 2 hits and an assist so far in 2 periods. So, you know, she was obviously playing better in practice. Same with the men. All these guys, I wrote out the team. They all passed their checks, 1 to 5. Up here for the pinks, the women, they looked like they passed, yeah. But the men, they had 2 guys that had to come in, although I didn't tick them there, but on period 2. No, I think they were all okay, those guys, and this is just what's happened in the game. But anyway, you get the idea. And in my book here, I do I've pasted over the years my own house rules, so season rules. So here it is. Before each game, decide the starting lineups, then roll 2d6, once for women and once for the men. Any double roll is a starting line change for the appropriate substitute. The starter can come on in normal play, but this balances the substitution adjustments and gives a bench player a chance to play a full game. My other house rule is treat a substitution result as an action result until a jam is attempted in the period. In other words, at the start of the game, say you had a substitution that was made by the pre-game roll. So for instance, Cooper here wasn't selected, and as we know, Blevins came in. If, say, the first or second card said substitution and all of a sudden Cooper was selected, it kind of makes a mockery of the fact that you're doing the pre-selection. So obviously something's up with Cooper. And so the way that I combat that is until a jam has at least been attempted, not scored, it can be scored, but at least attempted, no substitution takes place. So in other words, the starting lineups that you've come up with via the rolls and everything has to play at least 1 jam before the game allows substitutions. All right, so here's my board, and obviously these can be printed from the files on the Facebook page. They took me quite a long time to do, and I just wanted to introduce some of my moves and grooves in the world of Plaay Games. Thanks very much, everybody. Bye.